Hey guys, it's Miss Turner, and I'm back to read you a couple of more chapters from our story, Roscoe Riley, Don't Swap Your Sweater for a Dog. I don't know about you, but it's kind of chilly outside today, and if I didn't have a sweater, I might try and swap it for... Nah, I wouldn't do that. I love my fur baby too much. Alright, Chapter 9, The Swap. Now, yesterday we read a couple of chapters, and the last one was where Rocco was actually teaching, or trying to teach Goofy some tricks. So let's see what happens. Chapter 9, The Swap. For the rest of the week, I worked with Goofy. He didn't learn any letters, or any words. None. But we had fun chasing Hector and rolling around together. Who was Hector again? Oh yeah, that was the squirrel that likes to tease Goofy. Even though it had nothing to do with reading. On Friday, I sat on the front steps with Goofy. I had on my grandma's sweater because my mom made me wear it again. Mom was mulching the garden. Mulch is kind of like dirt. Mom says when she puts it around the plants, it's like giving them a blanket. If you ask me, a blanket should not smell like cow poop. Why aren't you and Goofy working? Mom asked. My trick contest is tomorrow, I said. And he still hasn't learned anything. I sighed. I think maybe Goofy's a dummy, Mommy. I whispered that last part so he wouldn't hear me. Roscoe, Goofy is the best dog in the world, Mom said. But he's just a dog, and he can only do doggy things. If you work hard with him, maybe he can learn to fetch or shake hands. But mostly, he's going to do what he does best. Love you. But he doesn't even know one letter, Mom, I said. Mom shook her head. Maybe the problem isn't the student, she said. Maybe the problem is the teacher. But I'm a good teacher, I cried. That poodle you told me about, Mom said. Edward? Edward, Mom said. Edward wasn't reading, sweetie. It's just a trick his owner taught him. A good trick, but still a trick. Mom stood up. I'm going to the garage to get some more mulch. I'll be right back. I pictured that trophy. Shiny, heavy, gold. If Goofy weren't so goofy, I could have that trophy. Down the sidewalk, I saw Martin and Edward. Martin waved. He paused and said something to Edward. Edward waved his little poodle paw at me. Goofy ran over to say hello, the old-fashioned dog way. Which way do you think that is? With major sniffing and tail wagging. Hey, I said. I gave Edward a pat. Today he was wearing a pink and green sweater. Is that a white tiger on your sweater? Martin said. It's a panda, I said. It's like you've got the whole zoo on there, Martin said. Hey, how did you teach Edward to read? I asked. Martin just shrugged. It's kind of a secret, he said. I'm trying to teach Goofy so he can do that trick in the contest, I said. He's not a very good student. Goofy licked my hand. I felt awful for saying that about my friend. Don't get me wrong, I added. He's the greatest. He just doesn't know his letters. Well, Martin said. Even Edward took a long time to learn. I wish I could take Edward to the contest, I said. He'd for sure win. Goofy sighed and lay down on the sidewalk. I felt even worse. What do you think Roscoe's feeling bad right now? What did Goofy just do? What did Roscoe say before Goofy laid down? Think maybe Goofy heard what Roscoe said? He might have got his feelings hurt. Martin thought for a minute. Then he started grinning. You know, he said, I might be able to let you borrow Edward. I felt my eyes get wide. You would let me borrow Edward for the contest? I cried. Name your price. Martin thought. You know, I do like that sweater. It's very unusual. I had to think for a minute. You mean this sweater? This one I'm wearing? With the smiley faces and monkeys on it? Yep, said Martin. It's one of a kind. That's for sure, I agreed. But the thing is, my grandma knitted this for me. With love. Martin shrugged. That's okay. It was just an idea. I pictured myself holding that shiny, glittering in the sun, could even be real gold trophy. I looked down at poor old Goofy. I checked over my shoulder. Mom was back in the garden, busy mulching. No, wait, I whispered. It's a deal. Follow me. We went behind some tall bushes. Goofy and Edward came too. I took off my itchy, ugly sweater. It was the best trade I've ever made. Uh-oh. Do you think it was a good trade? Except for the time I had talked to Hazel into giving me her double scoop chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream cone for a pink rubber band. Don't put it on until you get to the end of the street, okay? I said. Martin held up the sweater. Is that a crocodile? He asked. I think it's a rabbit, I said. All right. There's the boys making the swap. What's Roscoe giving Edward? What is Roscoe giving Martin? You're right, the sweater, in exchange for letting him borrow his dog, Edward. I touched the crocodile rabbit-like nose. My tuba lesson is at 10 tomorrow, Martin said. I'll drop off Edward before I go. Great, I said. Ed, give me 5. Edward put his paw up, and we high-fived. It's Edward, Martin said. Not Ed. I'm not sure, but I think maybe Goofy groaned. Goofy and I went back to the porch. I was cold. On account of I didn't have my sweater anymore. It was ugly and itchy, but man, it sure was warm. Roscoe, Mom said, where's your sweater? I swallowed. I took it off, which was true-ish? It's chilly out here, Mom said. You really need it. Goof and I are going in now anyways, I said. I think he's had enough learning. See you, Mom. Goofy and I ran inside, and I closed the door behind me. In the hallway was a picture of me and Max and Hazel and my grandma and grandpa at the basketball game. I thought about Grandma knitting all those furry little animals and smiley faces. It probably took her a very long time. She made that panda special because I was a panda in the reading group. Martin would never know that. How do you think Roscoe's feeling now? Do you think he still thinks it's a good decision that he made about switching the sweater for Edward? Okay, let's see. We'll do one more chapter, chapter 10. The toe tapping trick. It was warm and sunny on Saturday morning. That was a good thing, because I didn't need to wear my sweater. And because when Martin brought Edward over, Martin wasn't wearing my sweater. His sweater, I mean. I pick Edward up after my tuba lesson, Martin said. I took Edward's leash. Hey, did you know that sweater has I love you written on the right sleeve and teensy-eensy little yellow letters? Martin asked. No, I said quietly. And I found a mouse and a raccoon on it, Martin said. It's not a mouse, I said. It's a possum. My grandma and grandpa have a possum family living in their backyard. It's a great sweater, Martin said. I wish Edward had one so we could match. Today Edward was wearing a green t-shirt. It said, "World's Smartest Dog" on it. "Almost forgot," Martin said. He pulled Frog on a Log out of his backpack. "That's okay," I said. "I have a book he'll like even better. It's Goofy's favorite. Bad Cat Goes to the Vet." "Well, there's something I need to tell you," Martin said. He made some throat noises. See, Edward can't exactly read. "What do you mean?" I asked. "What about my trophy?" I was thinking. "It's a trick. I just signal him how many times to bark," Martin said. "I count the words on the page, and then I tap my foot. If it says 'Jump, Frog, jump,' then I tap my foot 3 times. Edward barks 3 times. So it only looks like he's reading," I said. "Oh." I was disappointed. I sort of liked believing dogs could read. I also could see how I'd been a little hard on Goofy. "You'd better stick with Frog on a Log, since Edward is used to it. It's a cool trick," Martin said. "I'm sure you guys will win." Does Edward really know how to read? Nope. It's just a trick he learned. Let's see if it helps him win the trophy, though. Martin patted Edward's poodle pom-pom. "Be sure he gets plenty of water," he said. He likes spring water. Cold, but not too cold." "Goofy likes toilet water," I said. "He's very open-minded." "He's a nice dog," Martin said. Goofy licked Edward. Then he licked Martin. Then he licked me. "Yes," I said, "he really is." Dad drove me and Edward to the contest, and I told him and Mom a teensy little fib about why I was taking Edward instead of Goofy. I said Martin had to go to his tuba lesson, so he couldn't take Edward to the contest, which was true. Then I said I was doing Martin a favor, because he really wanted Edward in the show, so he asked me to help out. That part was not so true. Mom and Max and Hazel were coming to the show later, but I had to get there early to sign up. "I'll say this for you, Edward," Dad said as we parked. "You sure smell better than Goofy." "I think he's wearing doggy perfume, Dad," I said. The contest was in the park by the street fair. Dogs and kids were everywhere. We walked over to a long table covered with paper and pencils. Dad helped me fill out a form so I could enter the contest. The lady gave me a number and pinned it to my shirt. I was 13. 13 is not very lucky," I said. "Could be your lucky number today," the lady said. "What's your dog's name?" I started to say he's not my dog, but instead I just said Edward. As we walked towards the big field, Dad said, "Goofy looked a little forlorn as we drove away." "What's forlorn?" "Forlorn," I asked. "It's how you feel when you think your boy doesn't like you anymore." "Goofy couldn't win a trophy, Dad," I said. As soon as I said it, I felt bad, even though it was the truth. "He could win for the biggest appetite," Dad joked. He gave me a hug and then patted Edward. "Good luck, guys," he said. "We'll meet you after the contest. I'm going to go save some seats so we can have a good view." "See ya, Ed." "It's Edward," I said. "Figures," said Dad. All right. Tomorrow we will read chapter 11, Truly Terrific Tricks. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Edward's going to come through and do the tricks that he's supposed to? Will Roscoe win the trophy? Will Roscoe ever get that sweater back? How do you think Roscoe started to feel about that sweater? Do you think he's got some sentimental value to it? Guess we'll find out tomorrow. All right, see you guys later.